Good after morning. Welcome back to Alright, What's Next? We're going to work on making a little wooden tapping hammer. It is what that mallet right there was actually intended to be. That one, the size and proportion and weight and everything, it got out of hand. It turned into something way bigger than I initially thought it was going to be. I want to make a relatively small hammer. So if you got like just a little bit of freaking material left that you're trying to pair off with your chisel and you just can't quite get in there, you can just tap it in a little bit and you don't have to damage the head of your chisel handle or anything. That's what I'm going to try and make today. And what I'm going to use is wood that I've got similar colors to my logo. So I've got this block of wenge or wenge, how the hell you pronounce it? W-E-N-G-E. I have a block of canary. I've never heard of a canary tree. I don't know if they exist or if that's just what they call this wood because it has a yellow hue to it. And then of course I have a little scrap piece of bloodwood. I'm not going to put much bloodwood in here because I don't have much in the way of red in my logo. It's just a little bit of trim around the freaking leathers. So I'm going to have just a little slim piece in the handle. This wenge, or however you pronounce it, is a relatively heavy wood. So it's got some freaking dense grain to it. So I'm not going to make a dead blow hammer. I'm not going to hollow it out and fill it with anything. I'm just going to make a standard little tapping freaking hammer. I want a handle that's going to be roughly 7.5, 8 inches long. But I also need to have the hammerhead, so this one block isn't going to be long enough. We're going to utilize the canary to lengthen the handle. What we're going to do is, where's my tape measure? Since this block is 1.5 inches, I'm going to have a 2-inch tang on the handle that will extend through the head, which this is going to make the head as well. Gives me some room to work with when I got to freaking put the wedge in and cut it all off flush. So, I think we're going to cut this at, this is a 12-inch blank. If we cut this off at 5 inches, and we make this 3 inches, that'll give us, what, an 8-inch? So we'll go with, let's go with 5.5 inches. Cut this at 3. That'll be a total of 8.5 inches. Nope. Okay. We're going to cut this at 6, this at 3, so that we'll make a 2-inch tang. That'll give us a 7-inch handle. That'll be the perfect size of a friggin' handle. Right here, 7 inches. So my freaking meats will fit on there nicely. Granted, it's going to be turned down considerably smaller. So we're going to cut 2 blocks of this in 3-inch lengths. And then we're going to glue them together. Because this is the same width as my wangy block, but it's not tall enough. So we're going to glue them together. That way it'll be taller. It's alright. It'll work. Because we're going to put it in the lathe and we're going to turn it. So our first step, let's go to the table saw. And we're going to set this miter gauge up and we can freaking rip this off. And make. Alright, so all my boards are freaking, they're dry. So now we got to move on to the next step. These are already squared up. This is going to be the hammer head. So that's good and square that way, good and square there. No air gap, light gap, whatever you want to call it. Same with the handle. Now, so I've got, this is going to be the handle end, and of course we've got the glue surface here where it's, you probably can't see that, but there's a good, it's not freaking flush. So we have to square up one end of this so we can attach it there. See how well them made up? That wouldn't fucking work right now. And then this one, is where I really wish I had a nice crosscut sled made, where I could just put it down, put a little couple clamps on there, and freaking cut it. But I don't have a crosscut sled. All I got a miter sled. So we have to cut this in half on the table saw, and that'll square up the center portion of it, and then one side will go here and one side will go there. So let's go to the table saw real quick, and we're going to square up this end, cut this one in half. Alright, now, I did not get them remotely freaking middle. Not even fucking close. But that's alright. The important part is that they go on there and there is no air gap between them. So now, what we gotta do, we gotta find centers on all these boards. And you can use center finders and that. But just corner to corner on a freaking square block or rectangular works. Now we got to drill these centers, and what we need dowel rods. Dowel rods. Hold on a second. Where the fuck are my dowel rods? Oh, there. Dowel pins. We want the larger ones. I think these are 1/4 inch. If you need to know, get yourself a freaking drill gauge and go, let's see, where's 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. The fuck's 1/4 inch? There it is. That is not 1/4 inch. That's actually, I think that's 3/8. Nope, that's not 3/8. That is a 5/16. Okay. We will use 5/16 because we want a fairly, what do you call that? Robust connection. And we need 3 of them. Now I need a 5/16 drill bit. This is actually a machinist drill bit, but it'll still friggin' work. And fuck me running, my 5/16 is gone. It should be right there. Alright, I gotta go over to my cheaper drill bit set that is not labeled well and find one that fits my 5/16 hole. Alright, there we go. That one ought to work. Alright, I'm going to take all this stuff over to the drill press real quick. We're going to drill these out and then we'll glue them up. Alright, now we play the waiting game. Oh, well, morning. I'm going to get back to making this hammer. This thing's been sitting on my bench for probably 2 months now, untouched. Too many other projects going on, and it just kind of got forgotten about. I'm going to see about trying to get back to it today. You ever woke up in the morning and think to yourself, like, you know what? I think I drank too much last night. Yeah, me neither. But anyways, let's see about getting this thing freaking put in the lathe. What we got to do first, I need to square it up. You got all these edges freaking sticking off all over the place, and then take it over to the bandsaw, and we're gonna remove all this excess material. And then the hammerhead, I'm gonna find center here where the handle is gonna go through, and I'm gonna drill a pilot hole with this little tiny drill bit. And that is just going to help me locate the exact center where the handle is going to go through after I make this round, because it's a bitch to freaking find center on a cylinder. And this little tiny thing here shouldn't cause any interference with the lathe tools. You shouldn't grab and tear wood out. At least I hope it won't. If it does, well, oh, I guess they screwed up the whole project. But using a little tiny drill bit like this, once I'm done turning it, I can utilize the drill bit as a way to make sure when I lock this down in my drill press vise that it is perfectly straight up and down. So I put the Forstner bit in there. I can drill halfway through, flip it over, line it up again with this drill bit, and then drill it through the rest of the way with the Forstner bit. And don't get any tear out, and it should be straight all the way through. And then we'll insert the handle. So I'm gonna go over to the bandsaw, and I'm gonna square this thing up. We'll find center, and then I'll get this chucked up in the lathe, and then I suppose we can start turning it. Okay, so 5 minutes into my day, I immediately fucked up my project. Somehow, I don't know. Let's see if you can see that there. If you can see the X or not on there, but I drilled my hole off center. The wood's so dark and it's kind of shadowed over there. I thought I was on center. I was not on center. I'm a little bit off. Yeah, everybody knows I'm a little bit off, but the hole is also a little bit off. So, I think I'm gonna try and save it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it over to the bench sander right there, and I'm gonna take a layer off of this side right there, and hopefully that'll make that more centered. It should anyways. And I got a little bit of a bit wander to it, so it's not much. There's not much difference between where this hole is and the exit hole is. It's slightly different. So, sometimes my ideas just don't pan out. So I'm gonna freaking turn this thing on. I'm gonna sand the hell out of it and see if I can save my hammerhead blank here, because that's like a $12 chunk of freaking wood right there. Okay, time to sand. Well, son of a bitch. Started to drill. And this is the belt, the motor belt for my drill press. I guess I won't be working on this project anymore until I get a new belt. I guess I can still go turn the handle, but god damn it. All right, that's on hold. All right, I finally got my drill press working again. It took me 2 different belts. The second one came in, it was finally the freaking right one, and I didn't damage the pulley so bad that it wasn't reusable after my first fuck up. So now I can actually try and drill this. So I've already got it set. Got my pilot hole drilled, and then I have the depth gauge set to go about halfway through this, so then we can flip it over, recenter it, and drill it out again so we don't have any fucking tear out, hopefully. All right, let's see how bad a tear out we got. Oh, not horrible. It took a freaking pretty good chunk right there, but yeah, there was no way that was gonna freaking fly. I noticed this hole was here and it was going through this direction, and I flipped it over and I noticed that the other hole was already like clearing the hell cockeyed over here. So if I would have drilled that the way I was originally planning on it, these things would have never made it up. So I guess this tear out part, that'll be the freaking up against the handle part. All right, so now we can go over and work on the handle. All right, I got the handle all done. I got it all sanded and everything. Now it's ready for final assembly. This is just press fit on there. I already got it marked out. I'm gonna take it over to the drill press and see if where that pencil line is. If you can see that, I'm gonna split this all the way down, almost all the way to the base before it starts to come back open again. And I got it marked right there because that's the grain direction. It will be the same grain direction as the handle, so it'll look, once I sand it off flush, it'll hopefully kind of disappear into there. But we also need a wedge. Now my original intentions, I was going to incorporate bloodwood into the handle, and I was going to sandwich bloodwood between this yellow stuff, which I can't remember what it's called. I'd have to go back and rewatch the video. And this black stuff, which I can't remember what it's called. I'd have to go back and rewatch the video. I was gonna sandwich the bloodwood in there, and I forgot to do that. Because I was trying to go with something that was somewhat similar to my logo colors, where I've got the yellow with the red around it, and of course the black background. So what we're gonna do, just to incorporate a little bit of red into this, we're gonna make our wedge out of this little scrap piece of bloodwood. Make the wedges easy. All I gotta do is just, hold on a second. We can just take this guy right here like so, since that is the width of that. Cut that out. Yeah, that's more than freaking long enough. And then we can shape it into a wedge. All right. I'm gonna go cut this real quick. We'll make a wedge, and then we'll do the final assembly. All right, we got her split. Make sure we got the shitty portion that has the tear out down. Goes together pretty nice, just like that. All right, now that's the right freaking width. Now we've got to turn it into a wedge. And to do that, what I think I need something that can hold on to this. Take me a little bit of, I need to put a new X-Acto blade in this. It's getting dull. Let's see, which side? This is the flatter side. All right. Take a scrap piece of block, stick that on there. Now I can shape this thing without removing my fingernails. Now, I know they got to be trimmed, but I prefer to trim them and not the tips of my fingers as well. Not that I haven't done that before. There we go. Now we got a nice little bloodwood wedge. Let's get some glue. Where's my glue bot? Where? All right, now we just gotta wait for that glue to dry. We can cut this off, shape it, round it off, and then we can put a finish on this thing. Till next week, because this is my fucking Sunday. I gotta work tomorrow. All right, so glue is dry. Now, I didn't get my goddamn wedge in fucking straight, so let's see here. Hopefully I'm focusing, but I'm gonna end up having a little tiny gap right there. It's all right, it's my hammer. I can fucking live with it. But what I gotta do now, I'm gonna take this over to the bandsaw and I'm gonna remove the bulk of this. Then I'm probably gonna use the spindle sander to refine the shape down, make it relatively round, and then I'll hand sand it. After get it all hand sanded, it's ready for polyurethane. Now, the best course of action before you go and put any of your freaking polyurethane on there is, of course, to run sanders in your shop that doesn't have any sort of dust collection. That way you can get plenty of particulates in the air, because then it'll give you a little bit of grippage to this when all that dust sticks to your nice brand new freaking polyurethane that you just put on. You know, for good measure, maybe I'll get around to firing up the air compressor, cleaning out my goddamn shop vac filter. Did you know you have to periodically clean these things or replace them? It's no wonder why that thing sucked, or didn't suck. All right, I'm gonna go to the freaking drill press real quick. Not the drill press. That would accomplish virtually nothing. I'm gonna go to the bandsaw and cut the bulk of this off. All right, I got my new camera, and I think the one thing that's annoying the shit out of me that I gotta get freaking used to is it has a side display over here that shows me what's going on. I keep forgetting to look at the fucking lens. I'm always looking over here at this, so it looks like I'm staring off into space. I guess I'm just not used to actually talking to a fucking camera. I'm used to talking to myself. All right, she's relatively smoothed off. Now I'm going to do some friggin' hand sanding. To get the hand sanding done, I'm going to shut the camera back off, and I'm going to turn my radio back on, and we'll get back to this when I'm ready to put the poly on. All right, we're ready for urethane. This is my little makeshift drying rack. It's just some heavy mechanics wire wrapped around a couple of boards, clamped into a freaking workmate. It'll work. It'll be all right. I got a quick little fucking tip for you here. Just the tip. If you're going to use your urethane, what really sucks is you scrape it off on the side of the can. All that urethane goes down into that groove that your lid's going to go into, and it's a bitch to clean out. You'll pretty much never get it all out of there. And then your lid won't go in properly, and it won't fucking seal. Scratch that. Freaking, hold on. I want to make a joke. So let's start this over. Scene. All right. We're ready to freaking put urethane on here. This is my little makeshift goddamn drying stand. It'll probably have some little tiny grooves on the bottom of the urethane where you really don't see it from the wire. But I don't think it'll be all that noticeable. I wish I had a little smaller gauge wire, but this is what I got. This is what we're going to use. Quick tip before we start freaking doing this. Whenever you're using urethane, you're done, just throw the lid away. Seal the top of your can with painter's tape. It'll be fine. Just a bunch of layers over top of it, and then all you gotta do is peel that painter's tape, throw it away. You're ready to freaking use it, and then put painter's tape back on it. And if you believe that, you're a moron, like me. No, Put painter's tape on the top of it like this. And then when you dip in and you freaking wipe a little bit of excess off of it, it'll just drip off of the painter's tape instead of going into the groove that the lid is supposed to sit into. Because you can't get that shit back out of there. And you can if you work at it long enough, but who's got, you know, that kind of patience? By doing it like this, nothing gets into that groove. Put the lid back on, it's sealed. Like the last can I had, I lost probably a quarter of the can because it would never freaking seal properly because I got too much urethane down in there. But like this, you won't get urethane into that groove. So we'll start. We'll get the head of the handle. Head of the hammer, not the handle. Get my tang all tangled, my merds all wixed. All right, now we're gonna have to wait, but we'll take this painter's tape off right here. And it's ready to have the lid put back on. And the lid groove isn't fucking full with goddamn urethane. So, I will finish this later because I gotta come back. I'm gonna, after this dries, I gotta sand it with 220, another coat of urethane, sand with 220, another coat of urethane. And we'll get back to this next week because I gotta go to fucking work tomorrow. Just kill me. I'll see you next week when this is done and we'll do the big unveil. All right, later. All right, she is done. Turned out pretty nice. Very shiny. I think maybe a satin finish might have been better than the high gloss, but I still freaking like it. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'll probably never use it. The whole intentions of it was just to have a little tiny lightweight hammer to where if you're trying to just pare off just a little bit of freaking wood, you don't want to take too much and just shoving on it isn't working. You just want a real fine detail just to be able to do that kind of shit with it. You know, so if you're trying to refine the shape of a fucking dovetail or something, that's what I was making this for. So pretty much it'll never get used because I've never actually even made a fucking dovetail. I do a lot of pocket hole joinery, fucking not even pocket holes sometimes. Sometimes I just drill through and friggin' wood glue and some screws. Because no, I'm not making fine heirloom furniture to be handed down amongst the freaking generations. I just make the shit that makes me happy. But this made me happy. This was fun to build. I'll probably make more hammers. Even if I never use them, it's still kind of cool to make a hammer. You know, this is what that big bastard was supposed to be, and that kind of got out of control. I don't know how I wound up making a freaking 2-pound dead blow hammer when all I wanted was a little tiny lightweight tapping freaking hammer. So that guy's up on the wall. So I guess to finish this video off, we might as well go ahead and give it a home up on the wall. Let me get my freaking drill. Drill. Let's see, are these guys long enough? Maybe. Let's stick these in the fucking wall real quick. We're gonna put them just directly alright, that was stupid. There we go. It's new home. Plus I've got that level, so it really accentuates the fact that I didn't put my freaking ammo bomb in at all, even remotely close to level. Good shit, another hammer down. Guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, turn on them notifications, whatever else you're supposed to do fucking when you watch people's videos. We'll see you next time.